Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zachary Nolan. Welcome back. Carter Nolan is not behind the camera today. He's relaxing because it's his birthday today. It was my birthday 2 days ago. Thank you to everyone who wished us happy birthday. Do appreciate that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. No, we're here to talk about the Manitoba Moose. The Manitoba Moose choked in round 2 of the Calder Cup playoffs. And you might be thinking, Zach, if it's round 2, did that mean they won a round? No, they have not won a round since 2018. The Manitoba Moose lost for the second straight year in a row in Game 5 to the Milwaukee Admirals in exactly the same score, 2-1. Now, let's go through this series because I know you guys might not have been watching it. That's fine. That's totally fine. I don't expect everyone to keep up with the AHL ongoings. I always kept my eye out just to see. Moose had a decent team this year, and they were getting a lot of guys coming back from, prospects and stuff, like Nikita Chibrikov, Danny Zilkin, and Kuzmin. But here's the problem. They didn't use any of them because, again, the pecking order is AHL goes above prospects, which I understand, but I politely would have liked to see when you guys were pissing away Game 4 and 5. So let's start with Game 1. Game 1 of this series opens up disastrously for the Manitoba Moose. They end up giving up 6 goals on 14 shots. Evan Cormier is the starting goaltender. He gets pulled after 3 goals. And then Arvid Holm comes in. He lets in 3 goals of his own. And it's just a mess. It's just a mess. A lot of guys showed up just that day from their time waiting on the reserve from the Game 5 in Vegas. They just showed up to Winnipeg. And it's just a disastrous game. Jansen Harkins scores. And there's one other guy who scores as well. And that's fine, is what it is, but Moose get blown out 6-2. All right, that's fine. Do the Moose get some pushback? A bit, but still, Game 2 is a lot tighter. Oskari Salminen starts for the Manitoba Moose, opposite of Yaroslav Askarov for the rest of the series, which is good because I think Salminen is our best AHL goalie for sure, locked there. However, I don't think it is early. The Winnipeg Jets are going to call him up because they like catering to people with more experience, which is, I don't know, take that as you will. Game 2 is a lot tighter. Moose are down by 1 late in the third period. Cole Meyer scores to make it a 2-2 game. Crowd goes electric. We go to overtime. Jansen Harkins, overtime winner, ties the series 1-1. Now, this is a best of 5 in the AHL. Round 2 is a best of 5. The Moose finished 3rd. That's why they automatically get a bye to round 2. Because first, we'll play the winner of 4th and 5th, which is technically round 1 is the 4th and 5th, playing each other to decide who plays first, and 2 and 3 play against each other. Manitoba Moose and Milwaukee Admirals were 2 and 3 last year, and the Moose had to lost the first 2 games in Milwaukee, won the next 2 games in Manitoba, and then failed to complete the comeback in Game 5. Now, with that said, the Moose would then win Game 2, of course. As I said, Jansen Harkins getting the overtime winner. That moves the stage to Milwaukee. And Game 3 is a tight affair. Once again, we go to overtime. Moose struggling on the power play throughout this series. A lot. They really struggled on the power play. However, Wyatt Bongiovanni scores in overtime to give the Moose a 2-1 lead in the series and 1 win away from going to the 3rd round, where they would play the Texas Stars. So the Moose win Game 3. Great job. Game 4. Now this is where I want to call it the Winnipeg Jetisms, because the Winnipeg Jetisms is just anything that can go wrong will go wrong. In Game 1, they started 2 goalies that both struggled. In Game 2 and 3, they worked hard to have that pushback to get a 2-1 lead in the series. Game 4, what happens? They scored on their own net! The Moose are tied 1-1 midway through the first period. Or it's either the first or second period. Doesn't really matter, does it? Delayed penalty. Pass back is botched. All the way down the ice, into the empty net, an own goal, and the Moose are down 2-1. They then give up 2 more goals to be down 4-1, put in a deep hole. And the Moose would have a great start to the third period. Bongiovanni and Harkins would both score to get them within 1 to make it 4-3, but unfortunately they would end up giving up the empty net goal and lose 5-3, which means the next night is Game 5. Again, though, it has to be said, Game 4, it's just errors. It's just errors that don't need to happen. And like giving up an own goal while you're on a delayed power play, that's inexcusable, and that cost you the game. We go to Game 5. The Milwaukee Admirals score early in the game. Moose wait up until the final 2 minutes of play. Who's the hero? Jansen Harkins is the hero, who scores to tie the game 1-1. Jansen Harkins had a great series. He had 7 points in 5 games. He was a rock star out there. Probably deserves a shot in the NHL next year. Don't know if we'll give him one because we're the Winnipeg Jets, but he did look very good. Are we going to overtime? No, we're not. They're under 30 seconds left. 2 Moose collide with each other in the neutral zone. 3-on-1, back the other way, and Spencer Stastny scores on the pass across. And with 27 seconds left, it's 2-1 Admirals, and that is how it ends, and that's how the series ends. Moose lose in 5 games, have only won 2 series since returning to Manitoba, since we got an NHL team. Yeah, it's tough. It's a toughie. I guess now we have to all cheer for the Winnipeg Ice because they're the only successful team in Winnipeg. But again, I like a lot of what I saw with this team over the course of the year. Obviously, it doesn't really matter if your AHL team is an all-star team or not. You would like them to win a playoff series once in a while. But I see a lot of good prospects there. Also some sleeper guys that deserve recognition. Torgerson had a decent season. Ville Heinola was injured with a shoulder injury in Game 5, so he couldn't play. Declan Chisholm had a phenomenal season. Jimmy O'Ligney got Man of the Year for his work in the community, and that's like a league-wide trophy, so way to go for that. He's only the second recipient of that for the Manitoba Moose in team history, the other being Jimmy Roy. Oskari Salminen looks like a solid option, honestly, moving forward if we end up having to give away Hellebuck because he doesn't want to stay for a rebuild. Wyatt Bongiovanni deserves a look. I would have liked to see, once again, Chibrikov and Zilkin get into the lineup to see how they mesh with those types of players, but we never got to see that, and that's fine. Jansen Harkins deserves a look, for sure. Dominic Toninato looks like a very capable AHLer. He looks comfortable in there. I'm a little upset that they didn't bring Janssen Fialvi to play for the Manitoba Moose in the playoffs. He was eligible. However, if you look on the story, fun fact, he was nowhere near them. He was hanging out with Pierre-Luc Dubois, Kevin Stenlund, and Morgan Barron somewhere in Europe. They just went on a trip. Which is fine. I would have liked to see Axel Janssen Fialvi help the Moose stave off elimination, but it is what it is. Yeah. Not much more to say, guys. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that as well, since I know we're going to be posting a little bit less now since the season's over. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Always appreciate it. Have a good day. We'll see you next time.